The most important thing in life will always be the people right here, right now. That's what's real. Hello?
Dominic Toretto. You don't know me. You're about to.
Who did this?
Remember Owen Shaw? This is his big bad brother. He's a special forces assassin. They created a monster.
Looks like the sins of London have followed us home. We're being hunted.
This is the epic story of three brothers.
Run, carnal, run!
Santos locos forever, carnal. Let's go!
One searched for truth in the law.
You kill your own people! No!
One expressed his passion through art.
We'll be completely sold out by the end of the night.
Oh!
And one found power in prison.
No one can stop us.
You used me.
What about all the times you used me?
He changed something in the past. We have to find out what he changed and change it back before they kill everyone on the planet. In my world, I'm a hero.
You mean like Batman?
No matter how fast you run, you can't save everyone.
We're running out of time.
War's over. Everybody lost. No!
This Organized Chaos podcast is brought to you by listeners like you. Thank you.
Hello, and welcome to another Organized Chaos podcast. One of the finest podcasts of all casting of pod.
I mean...
I am Bobby Quarters.
Can you,
And with me, as always, is Chaos, yes?
can you think of another better casted pod in the world?
No, I
I
cannot.
mean, I feel like we're like pod people, and nobody can cast better than us.
And they do say pod people ain't got no reason to live, but we have a reason to pod. And cast that pod.
True.
We will. This week, we got a pretty good show for you this week. We're going to continue on with our Fast and Furious saga.
Yes.
We're going to trample onto that one a little bit.
Leading into
more,
Fast
yeah.
10 with Furious 7.
Yeah. We're gonna, did you hear about one of the premieres of the Fast 10 recently? I think it was in somewhere overseas where Vin Diesel and Michelle Rodriguez were talking, and he had let it slip that there was gonna probably make Fast 10 a trilogy. So there's gonna be like a Fast 10 part 1.
It was only supposed to be a two-parter. And yeah, 3. No, I genuinely I don't want to be Fast 11 next. I want to be Fast 10 Part 1, Fast 10 Part 2, Fast 10 Part 3. Because let's just go all in with the stupidity.
I mean, at this point, why not?
And like I said, this franchise simply needs to end with them having an intergalactic space station where they regulate all the intergalactic street racing.
No, it's going to end with them and the Ocean's 11 crew teaming up for like the biggest heist of all heists of everything, and drag race of all drag races.
Yes.
And
with RuPaul.
Oh yeah, of course.
You can't have a drag race about RuPaul. Come on.
No.
No, it's quite.
And after all the Fast and the Furious, we'll be talking about what is next this week after Fast and Furious.
Blood in, blood out.
Blood in and blood out.
It's a little light comedy. Very. It's hilarious, fun-filled, family fun.
No, it's a '90s drama about some Latin kids growing up in the barrios of East LA in the pretty much through the what's it? It started in like the 60s
Yeah, I want to say
to the 80s.
Well, no,
yeah.
I think it starts in the early 70s, but yeah, it goes into the 80s.
Yeah.
I want to say.
Yeah, like it spans like a whole generation. It follows three kids growing up, and just the paths that life took them.
Yep. And then after that was Justice League Flashpoint Paradox, leading up to the Flash.
Threw in an
well, I guess we'll get into it when we get to that movie, but yeah,
we'll get into it when we get into it. Yeah.
So, did you hear about this
in the news?
Did you hear about what happened to the star of Home Alone 2? I mean,
yes, I did.
I mean, the poor guy, he can't catch a break. He just, he's with these women that apparently, well, that's the thing, like that deposition tape leaked recently where he talked about how, the woman enjoyed getting raped. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe it's too late. But, maybe she enjoyed getting graped without the G. But,
She enjoyed the experience of that act is pretty much verbatim. I'm paraphrasing of what he said.
No, it's pretty much what he said. If you you can watch the video online. We covered it on the Fandom Initiative and play the clip. So if you want to check it out, boom, there it is.
Yeah, but, it's on there.
He pretty much said it. And there's two things to note. Number one, creepy motherfucker. And number two, you just admit to raping her. Just fucking just admit it. So he lost that lawsuit and he is paying E. Jean Carroll quite a bit of money, I saw. What is he looking at?
Was it $5 million, I think?
Or $2 million in damages and compensatory damages and $20,000. Do we have a total? Well, as much as I hate to admit it, listen, it's good that he got nailed with this, but this is probably going to be a drop in the bucket for his finances, unfortunately. But that being said, hey, he was caught for doing crimes. Crimes. Bad crimes.
Being just a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But speaking of pieces of shit, because they rolled downhill and apparently together.
Yeah.
One of our other favorite people are in the news.
Yes. Georgie Santos.
Yes, good old Governor Deceit himself.
The most respectable Republican in office. Which might actually be fucking true, but that's not commending him. That's just because the whole party's fucked at this point.
Yeah, they are proper fucked.
Well, he's being held. I believe he made bail, which was $500,000. I want to say.
Yes, someone paid his bill, his bail.
And then what are they holding him for?
I believe it's 13 counts of fraud.
Of course.
Or at least something equating to that, but fraud is in there. Yeah.
But he always seemed like a respectable fellow. I'm shocked.
You know that guy has the balls to walk around with an AR-15 lapel, like pin on his lapel.
Well, it's
the fucking nerve, fucking nerve of that man.
Oh, it's almost like he's a piece of shit.
I try to be a pacifist in most elements, but I'm not above punching him in the face.
Yeah. No, he's
I'm not. Shit. I ain't above it. I didn't say I would, but I said I'm not above it.
Yeah. That is a legal statement. We're clear now. We're clear.
Yeah. We're very clear. Yeah. I'm not above it.
Yeah, no. We're dealing with two pieces of shit. George Santos and the star of Home Alone 2. Just not good people.
This is just pretty much, just us talking about or just showing shining examples of how strong most members or other members of the GOP have been acting. Others act like raging lunatics most of the time, and it's something that you would see of somebody outraged in a department store or something. Mm-hmm. But it's and honestly, I mean, I would just be embarrassed if that was my representation.
Yeah, I would.
Honestly, and I thank God that, you know, Jim Jordan isn't our representative, or at least where I live. I mean, because that man is just horrendous. I'm embarrassed that we are from the same state, but just he is just so willingly incompetent. It's just shocking.
No, Jim Jordan is a complete piece of shit.
He's way northern Ohio. He's not yours either.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to remember because I was like, I don't think I voted.
Yeah, he's not yours.
All of a sudden, I'm like, fuck, is he mine?
I would tell you,
because like in my area, I would have passed it.
No, I believe he's northern, like kind of Cuyahoga Valley area. Which also, not shocked.
No.
Joyce Beatty is Franklin's, and
we got some real winners in the Republican Party. I'm not saying that they're all gems on the Democratic Party. I could do with a lot less. There's
like some rage. There's some raging nutbags of insanity on the Democrats as well.
Yeah, but the Republicans seem to be the main focus.
To be honest, like I think the guys on the like lower level like of the states areas or things I've seen from local state boards, those Democrats have impressed me more than the ones in Congress.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, there's two in Congress. Well, there's one in Congress I can think of his name right off the top of my head, and it's James Raskin. Oh, that guy is great. Mm-hmm. He is great, and I just love how tired of everyone's bullshit he is.
No, there is, like, if occasionally I see an interview with him, and he will definitely get some points in that are pretty based, so props.
Yeah, he does. He is, but also he stops the crazy rhetoric of pretty much just certain members of the GOP just wasting the House and Congress's time, and it's nice to see somebody who cares about like the goodness of legislation. Like, come on, let's get on with this.
Yeah. Let's see. Anything you want to add? Are you ready for Furious 7?
Yeah, let's talk about.
So this is the most logical movie in the whole franchise. It makes perfect sense. There's not a single point where you're asking why the fuck they're doing anything. This is almost art at this point. No.
Yeah, it's poetry in motion.
No, like, I'll be blunt. Like, I didn't really enjoy this the first time I watched, and this the second time, and I think I probably enjoyed it more. But this is so goddamn dumb. So, like, we have, like, one thing I will say is,
at what point the cast was even agreeing how dumb this was.
Oh yeah. Well, this is the last one with Paul Walker. He didn't finish his role, and I will say you can tell there's lots of scenes where it's just dumb, and it's noteworthy because, like, throughout all the other ones, they were almost like co-stars, maybe with Dom having a slight lead, but they're kind of like co-stars. And this one, you can definitely see there's a lot less Brian in the movie than Dom, like significantly less. There's probably less Brian in the movie than there is of pretty much any of the other characters in the poster outside maybe Hobbs. Because
Dwayne Johnson was hardly in this movie too.
Yeah, well, this is also when you started finding out that Dwayne Johnson and Vin Diesel did not get along great on set. So, like, they would go out of their way to find ways to shoot where they aren't on the same scene. Which, yeah, they share a decent amount of screen time in the 5 and 6. So, also in this one, I think they have one scene together. And if you actually watch how it's cut together well. But it's like, they like, I'm watching, I'm like, they could have actually shot this without either of them on set at the same day. Because there's no shot where you can clearly see their face in the same shot. But, so this is, like, one thing I will say this movie does is it brings in Jason Statham as the villain, which is kind of cool, I kind of want to say, because I like Jason Statham, and, you know, he's after them, and, you know, at first it seems like he's going to be a real serious threat. You know, I guess you could argue he is throughout the whole thing, but it gets dumb because so first thing he does is one of the first things he does is he blows up their house, and then we go back and he kills Han, and then I think those happen kind of at the same moment now I think about it, but
no,
you know,
he doesn't
obviously
kill
he's a
Han.
threat.
He doesn't kill Han or whatever because Han's like in the later movies.
Yeah, we haven't got that. We're getting that's Fast 9. It gets confusing. I'm sorry. What is 9 called? Fine, 9 is called F9: The Fast Saga. That's it. Because the titles of these movies make no god fucking sense. But so the main driving story force throughout this is like Shaw's going after them. So what happens is Kurt Russell gets a hold of him, who plays Mr. Nobody, who's some government official, and he's like, I have a God's eye that will allow you to locate Shaw anywhere on the planet. Never mind the fact that no matter where they go, Shaw is there trying to kill them. Like, fucking locating this guy is not the issue. But, yeah, no.
It seemed more just like killing him was the issue.
Yeah, and it seemed like, well, we'll change you from the hunter to the hunted, and so they have to do this big, over-complex mission to get this hacker, so they can get the God's Eye and locate Shaw. And of course, when they do that, it goes to hell, and Shaw gets the God's Eye, and yeah, things just go to hell, and this is a dumb movie. Like, okay, so, like, I enjoy these movies, but this is dumb as shit. Like, this is the dumbest thing this is, like, Shaw is following them throughout the whole movie. Like, we need to figure out this way to track down Shaw, but he's fucking there. Like, every action scene, he pops up. Like, even when he's not supposed to be there and they're trying to be sneaky, he's fucking right there. It's like, okay, why are you having trouble tracking him down? I'm really fucking confused. I guess, what are your thoughts?
This one was definitely, like, crazy off the wall. Yeah. Like, I mean, like, over-the-top action. I mean, I found it, like completely ridiculous. Like a toddler playing with their Hot Wheels. Good action.
No, listen, we got this plan. So plan A of our intricate plan is going to be, we're going to drop the cars out of an airplane. Because I don't see how that could go poorly.
I just thought, like, yeah, I did this with my friends when we were in elementary school. Or, like, like in kindergarten, playing with our Hot Wheels all the time. Yeah. Like,
it's like, how do you even know you're going to land on the road? Like, anywhere near the road? Like, come on. Like, you can't steer it once it shoots out. Oh, it's you might be shocked to hear a Fast and Furious movie is dumb. I know, spoilers.
Yeah. It was stupid. I was watching this, and it was kind of late, but I did want to, like, just text you, like, this is stupid.
Yeah, no, it is. No, all these movies are dumb. But yeah, this one, like, I think they definitely get dumber and dumber, because, yeah, I know 9 gets really dumb, but I don't know. Like, I enjoy these movies because, like, I'm kind of here for it, and it's so dumb, though. It is, like, so insanely dumb. Like I said, like, I enjoyed this more than the first time I watched it, but this is dumb.
Sorry, I just got an interesting update from the BBC.
Ooh. Anything worth reporting, or?
I'll just read the headline, and then I could give, like, or you could cut this out later. It just says, a simple guide to debt ceiling and what the 14th Amendment has to do with it. And just by that, I was like, okay.
No, the debt ceiling's dumb.
Yeah, they were talking. No. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, so I do want to state one thing that I think is kind of kind of awesome, but like the dumbest thing ever also is like, so like Shaw blows Hobbs out of a building, like right at the beginning. It's like one of the first things that happens. He blows him out of a building. He lands on a car. You know, obviously he's all fucked up, right?
Oh
for the
yeah,
rest of the movie.
he's fucking dead. No,
Yeah,
he's dead.
no, he's got
He's
like
dead. He's
maybe
fucking
a broken arm. And then, like, literally at the end, when he sees shit going down, he just breaks the cast off and he's good as new.
Yeah,
like, yeah,
I
that's how that works. Sure.
No, it was a gimmick cast.
Yeah.
It's not actually broke. No,
Listen,
he didn't actually hurt
we
himself.
just do it
was
for
a gimmick
show.
car. No, dude, he did that for years in wrestling. It was a gimmick car. It was made to do that. That's actually aluminum tinfoil.
Sure.
Yeah, it was soft. It was a padded landing.
Sure. But yeah, I mean, I do feel like at this point you should kind of know what you're in for the Fast and Furious movies. Like I said, I enjoy it, but this is dumb. This is so fucking dumb.
Yeah.
But we got Fast 10 next week, and I'm sure that will be the one to break the mold and be the thoughtful, intellectual one.
This will be the first Fast and Furious movie I will have seen in the theater since 2.
Crap. I think. Well, I've seen the past 2 in the theater, but yeah, I don't think I've seen any other ones in the theater. I think it was 8 and 9 were the ones I saw in the theater, and I did see Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, I saw 1 and 2 in the theater.
Mm-hmm. So it's been a while. But yeah, I will say I think they did a decent job considering they didn't have Paul Walker for most of it. You do realize his role is like reduced in here, but like it was a lot of just using what they had left, and there was a little bit of CGI stunt doubles, which I thought they did decent, and I think they do a decent send off for him at the end.
Yeah,
I will give the movie all props to that. I think that was solidly handled. But yeah, like. If you're looking for a dumb Fast and Furious movie, this is it. If you're not, then you're not.
This is actually kind of where I feel they should have ended it.
Yeah, no, this probably would have been a decent spot to end it, especially with Paul Walker's death. But this was, I think, the most successful one to date. So,
well, because of
going.
Paul Walker's death.
Yeah, exactly. So they couldn't stop. I remember when 8 came out, I was like, okay.
Poor taste.
Yeah. But,
well, it's kind of like that philosophy, you know, like everyone loves you when you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially with music, you know, how there's like, you know, some bands you could argue that they wouldn't be as famous as they were or have much notoriety as they were. Unless it was like, you know, that member didn't die, i.e. good example, Sublime or Nirvana.
Mm-hmm.
Those are kind of like, kind of, whoa, hot takes. Not my hot takes, but hot takes I've heard about both bands.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I don't know, man. I think their music spoke for itself in both cases, Nirvana especially.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, and I think if Kurt were still around, I would be interested to hear what he would be putting out if he chose to do so. Even if he just chose not to, that would be cool too.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean that's certainly why this movie made so much money. People want to see how they can handle it, and I think they did handle that respectfully. And you are correct in that, like all the storylines are resolved in this one. Really, it's like if they ended the franchise here, it would have been a decent enough ending. I mean, I don't know if you could expect any better an ending for the Fast and Furious franchise, so...
No.
But, of course, they don't. So there's more fastness and furiousness. And who would have thought upon watching that first movie in 2000 that this would be a franchise with 10 parts?
I don't know.
It's so fucking weird.
It was also set to be the last one last ride.
Yeah, oh yeah, no. Like, yeah. One crew, one last ride. I think it says that on the digital copy too, and I'm like, right. Mm-hmm. One last ride except for the other ones. But oh yeah, what do we have next? Anything you want to add before we go on?
No. Nah. Blood In, Blood Out.
Yeah, Blood In, Blood Out. This is like a 80-minute family comedy. It's filled with wacky hijinks and fun.
I mean, the acting makes you think that at times, but aside from that, at its core, it is a story about growing up.
True. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm being silly, but like, well, I guess a couple things to get out of the way is like I was having trouble tracking this down. Bobby found a version for me. It was on YouTube. There were some audio problems, and the picture wasn't great.
Well, and the reason for the audio on it was copyright of music and the music that was being used, and a lot of it is being played while dialogue is still going on.
Mm-hmm.
So some things that is missed, and I noticed that too in the copy, and I tried to find one, and pretty much every cut I found on YouTube was exactly the same.
Okay.
So, but I've seen this a few times, so I know that a lot of it was just small conversation continuing of whatever was going on.
That's the thing, like, it doesn't happen that much, and, like, you could
But luckily when it did,
it
was never during a crucial plot point, so it was, like, never when they were having the meetings in prison, which I was kind of worried about. I was like, God, I hope they don't cut out some of that stuff, because some of it is great dialogue and just great writing, but also very crucial to the plot. And none of it was cut, so that was good.
Yeah, so I guess also to go into my experience with this, I had not heard of this before.
Okay.
Which is kind of crazy. It's got some big names in it. I think the biggest name of the core cast would obviously be Benjamin Bratt, but like, as far as like minor roles, it's like all over the place. Danny Trejo's there. Ving Rhames is there. Billy Bob Thornton pops up for a bit.
I
know there's more that I'm not thinking of, but like there's lots of little names just popping up throughout this thing. It's like, oh shit, it's that guy. Oh shit, it's that guy.
Oh hey.
While this is a very long movie, it actually goes by pretty fucking quickly. Like, you don't feel that 3 hours. It doesn't feel like 3 hours. It feels like maybe a 2 hour
this
movie.
Is a 3 hour epic. But
it's like 3:10.
But it does roll really quickly, and the story flows really fast.
I remember when they got to the first gang shooting, or the first like big gang event, where the guy gets sent to prison. And I was like, oh, so it's been on for like, so what, we're like 20 minutes into it, and I think I looked at, and it was like 40, and I was like, oh. Well, this is actually going at a pretty fast pace then. Okay.
The pacing in this is, wow. I mean, it could be argued that it goes too quickly, but no, it flows, and it's very linear.
I'm trying to remember, were these guys just really good friends?
No, they okay. So Benjamin Bratt's character, and the other actor, I can't think of his name, the artist Cruz.
Okay.
Well, Benjamin Bratt plays Paco, and
I was thinking the artist. Are they brothers or cousins?
They are half brothers. I want to say
half brothers. Okay, and then Miklo.
And Miklo is their cousin.
Okay. But I mean, they essentially, like, it's almost like a brother-like relationship between them.
They're
like,
family,
Like,
they're family.
Figuring out the exact familial connections is not important in this movie, because at their core, in their hearts, they're essentially brothers.
Well, it's crucial for a little bit of it.
Yeah.
But it gets confusing, and it's okay to have it. It's okay, because it gets confusing. Like, the little brother that we see in the movie, the younger kid.
Yeah.
The boy. He is actually Benjamin Bratt's, Paco's little brother, and Cruz is his like half brother, because the guy who was at the auto shop with Cruz, that's his father. He married Paco's mother, and so that they have a few half children, like the little ones. That guy who owned the auto shop, though, man, the first time you see him, I was like, holy crap, he is stacked. He is ripped. Like, he had muscles so big, it was like, I believe you were in the Corps. I believe you were a Marine, sir.
But
how are you this fine afternoon?
But Cruz, is that the name of the artist? It's Cruz? Because
The
I remember
artist, yes,
Miklo, and
Cruz.
then Paco is Benjamin Bratt, I want to
Yes.
say. And then,
Yes. Paco
okay.
is in, yes.
And then, so, like, through this, we see the brothers, and they're essentially in a gang. But, you know, they're...
Well, yeah, it's a small... It's their neighborhood gang, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, Miklo goes to East LA from Vegas because he left living and working with his father because his dad was kind of a racist piece of crap.
Mm-hmm.
Miklo being half white, half Mexican, he's obviously kind of had a rough childhood because he's growing up looking white, but he is a mixed kid. That happens in relationships like that. But it seems that the father and mother are estranged, and he goes out to East LA right before his 18th birthday, and he meets up with his cousins Paco and Cruz, who have like a game that they're in, and they're Vatos Locos. Yeah. And while they're there, you know, he wants to join the gang, but they are telling him, you know, you can't because, you know, you look white. How are you going to join that gang, man?
Yeah.
You don't look Spanish. They call him milkweed a lot throughout the whole movie. Well, throughout their whole time together. But you still see that they're a family and they bond. Cruz is a very talented artist. He works at his father's auto shop, and he does like detailing, and he paints cars, but he's also a painter, and he is very talented. And, you know, there's talk, you hear him saying how there's, you know, people talking about getting a scholarship to college for it. Paco is an old junior Golden Gloves champion, old boxer. But he's also kind of the tough guy of the group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's the best description I can give of all of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're in this gang, and Cruz, he kind of gets messed up by another gang.
Yeah.
And Paco and Miklo and the rest of them decide they're going to hit the other gang. They do it the next morning to not be predictable. And
he gets messed up pretty bad. That scene's kind of rough to watch.
Yeah, but in that whole event, most of the gang gets away, but Miklo and Paco do not. Miklo gets shot, and Paco stays to help him, but they end up getting busted. And then that's when we see Miklo go to prison, and then Paco join the military.
Yeah, he had his choices were jail or the military, and he joined the military.
Mm-hmm. And
Cruz gets out of the hospital. Oh, well, you should say how badly he got messed up. They picked him up he was celebrating a graduation party, and he slipped away with a lady, and he was having a moment alone with her. Some of these guys from a rival gang who they messed with earlier, they were spray painting in their alley, and then Paco and Cruz told Miklo, "Oh, you don't like it? Go do something about it." And Miklo took a baseball bat to their back window.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
And that got him in the game.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So those guys come back for retaliation then, and that's what caused the big gang fight. They pick him up and drop him over a fire hydrant, like on his back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's rough to watch, but I'm gonna look it up.
I know it was based on a true story about an artist, and I can't think of his name right now. But yeah, essentially these guys are like really close. They're essentially family throughout the first act of the movie, and then, you know, Miklo goes to prison, Paco joins the military, and then Cruz gets out of the hospital and turns to drugs, and that's where you see all three of their stories diverging. Even though they are still very close family, they are very well connected. They are all on very different paths, which is honestly fascinating to watch throughout.
That's his name, Jesse Borrego.
No.
He gives such a great performance throughout this whole movie. Like it's awesome to watch him. Like, he is a phenomenal actor. Like, I was blown away so many times by his scenes and his like delivery of them. Like, he's great.
Nice.
He was great in this. But yeah, their paths go quite differently. Miklo goes to prison, and he finds his way in with the local like the Mexican gang in prison
Mm-hmm.
called La Onda. There's a scene where he gets introduced to all the gangs by a member of La Onda. They're walking around. He's pointing out all the different factions. He points out the BGAs, which are like the group of African American guys. It's like they stick together. And then there's the group of all the Aryan guys,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah.
were all the white guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I gotta say, the actors who played all the white racists in prison, I mean, they did a great job of playing their part.
Mm-hmm.
Of just making you go, man, fuck you.
Yeah, no, there are some nasty people in that fucking prison. It was despicable.
Did you happen to notice the boom shot in one of those?
No, I didn't.
That whole sequence. After when the one AVer is threatening the Laonda guy when Miklo's there, talking about the big policy. I got a policy with him too, and you see the Mexican Danny Trejo whistle and then stand up and walk over there. There's a boom in that scene.
Nice.
It's just more of are you serious? First time I watched it, I saw it and I just it's a mic.
Of course.
Kind of took me out of the moment, but
yeah, well, when you catch stuff like that, it will. But no,
yeah, but they did a great job of just kind of showing the dynamics within the prison at that and how the politics were working in the story.
Well, one thing I also thought was fascinating is that he does get out of prison. And then what we saw then was how hard it was to get by after getting out of prison. Because when he got out of prison, he's like, I'm gonna sail straight. I'm gonna fix up my life. I'm gonna do the right thing. And then, he has that manager and he advises, his manager's doing some gambling. He's like, oh, here's what I'd recommend, essentially.
He gives him kind of some bad advice.
He loses, and then the manager starts taking it out of his paycheck. And it's like, and the guy's like, how dare you? You can't do this. And it's like, well, if you make any trouble, I'll just tell them you stole it, essentially. And, who are they going to believe? It's like, it's showing how fucked he is. Even though he's out of prison, he's fucked.
Even the guy with his clique, within prison, he dropped the ball on them and said, I'll get you a place to live. It'll be cool when you get out. Yeah, he's crashing in a cot in his apartment with 4 other people.
Well, I mean, that guy is kind of a piece of shit. So, yeah.
Well, yeah. He's also the guy who introduced him to everyone and then, made him feel very good and welcome and then tried to rape him.
Yes.
Which that scene turned around. I first time I watched it, I was like, well, that made a turn.
Yeah.
I knew it was coming. I just didn't expect that quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he's being way too nice. It's like, he's just first time I saw this, people I was watching it was like, what do you think? What do you think of him so far? And I go, who, the guy he's walking with? Oh no, he's being awful friendly. And he's like, here's a bit of this. Well, it's like, here, use cigarettes. It's good as money. And here's a bit of weed. Oh, I smoke that. And I go, yeah, he's being way too friendly for his first day. Yeah, something's up. He wants something. And then he pushed me. He's like, give me some chunch. I'm like, and there it is.
Yeah. Well, I know. Well, it's not. Miklo's got a lot going on, but also Cruz
in the prison
has
stuff.
his drug issues.
Yeah, we see him get released from the hospital, which is also where we see Paco out of the military. And he's helping, and he sees Cruz just eating Vicodin like it's mince. And it's just obviously kind of where the next step would go with that. He even says morphine's the real ticket. That's what really does, and it's just and that's bad. But yeah, and after that we see Paco at a drug deal, but later we find out he's an undercover cop.
Yeah. At first you're like, oh shit, he's getting CD. Nope. No. He's no. I mean, I knew he was. Double check. Is his partner Biff Tannen?
Yes.
Okay.
That was Biff Tannen. That was totally Biff Tannen.
Okay, it looked like him. That was someone else like, hey, I know that guy. Hey, I know that.
It's just no, like kind of like watching it going, he sounds familiar. Like that voice. That
Well,
I know him from something.
I think the first time you see him, he's in a goofy outfit, so you don't really recognize him. Then you see him the second time, it's like, oh, that's him. That's him.
That is him.
Yeah.
That is Biff Tannen. But well, we see him out there, but we also see the guy, or Popeye. That was the character's name. Popeye. We see him drive past because I guess he was funding said PCP that was being made there at the drug bust that they were doing. So he's out of money, and he had taken a few loans out, so he got screwed and kind of pinched for that. But the whole time that Miklo's been out, and he's been living with Popeye, who was also very friendly with him, and when he first got to prison, Popeye's also been pocketing money out of their checks and not paying the rent in there. We later find, because we find see how hard it is for Miklo, even the arrangements that he had that they set up in prison so that they all could have money to get when they get out. He's just been taking it and wasting it on whatever, just screwing them out of their money.
Dude. What a base dude.
Yeah. Well, his next actions aren't shocking. We see when Miklo gets out of prison, we see him and Cruz. Cruz, they're hanging out once they get out, and they're talking. And we hear how, they go back to the apartment where he lives and shares with some of the other guys from prison and Popeye. There's, strangers there and stuff. And, I mean, that's nothing new. He's come home to party. He's not had a place to even sleep on his own bed. There have been people making out on it. And it's just, we see how, it's rough for him. So he's super fed up with it at this time, just yelling, "Who the hell are you? Why the hell is my door locked? What the fuck is going on?" Just super pissed off, as he should be. And then he finds out that Popeye's trying to make a deal, and he tells him that, "I know you've been cheating on me." The other guys had no idea. They're like, "Are you serious?" So they all turn on him. He has the guy, "What, you have a job? I'll do the job. What is it?" And apparently it's robbing an armored truck. So Popeye gets super pissed off that he gets cut out of the deal, and he calls the cops on him and flips on him. Tells the cops about the deal. So that puts Paco and Biff Tannen, I forget the officer's name, but it puts them. Yeah, it's Officer Biff Tannen. So yeah, it puts them at that scene where that crime is going to take place. Oh, we also forgot to mention some of the drama in prison that happened in this.
Oh, is there drama in prison in this?
Yeah, where Miklo killed that Nazi.
Oh, I guess.
Yeah,
that
so
was
before
the big thing to prove himself in prison, and
how he got into there was a guy who was very crude and just open about how he wanted to take advantage of him. Was very open in his dialogue about it, and also was racist to everybody. Yeah. And just kind of a piece of crap. So anyways, Miklo kills him. Sure. And he also gets the bookie game, which apparently he ran all the betting inside of the prison. And in his book, some of the guards' names were in that book. And Miklo has the book. And they now had leverage and had enough to kind of run a lot of the trade in the game inside of prison before he got out. Because that comes into play in this after this, because of course the heist doesn't go well.
Yeah.
Paco ends up shooting Miklo.
Yeah. Destroying his leg.
And Miklo loses a leg. We haven't talked about Cruz. Cruz falls deep into a drug addiction of heroin. And he's still hanging out with Chavez, from Clear and Present Danger.
Sure.
Or, Tuco from Breaking Bad.
I mean,
I know him as Chavez from Clear and Present Danger.
I mean, this is the same universe, so.
Well, no. Who is that? Who is that actor? What is his name?
I don't know. I can visualize him.
Raymond Cruz. Raymond Cruz is his name.
So Cruz is with Cruz.
Well, yeah. But they're both getting high, shooting smack in their arms. The little boy that we've seen kind of all hanging around the game, even when they were younger, the young boy Juanito, who is Paco's little brother. Excuse me, but he's idolized Cruz that we've seen the whole time. Like he's wanted to be by his side and all around him. This like all throughout the family scenes in the movie. Yeah, he comes in and sees them as his buddy Chewie, Raymond Cruz, is sparking to get up his or to heating up a shot to shoot up. And we've seen him hanging around Cruz before, and we see them both getting obscenely wasted. Like Cruz had a big art show earlier. We didn't talk about that. He goes and leaves with his friends, gets super, super wasted. I mean, we even heard him argue with his art manager, saying like, "I already gave you 4 advances," because he's asking for more money, and she's just, "Don't piss away your talent. Don't. You have good talent." But he goes and gets high with his friends, comes back, and kind of makes a jackass of himself. Yeah, but we see them shooting up. They both shoot up and pass out. The little boy first barges in on him, and he tells him, "Hey, go upstairs, dude. Don't be here. You can't do that. That's not cool." You know, and the kid comes down, still wanting to be like him. He sees a cigarette that one of them was smoking, wanting to be like him. He takes a hit off of it. He sees the needle and tries, and the boy dies. The family pretty much disowns Cruz at that moment at the funeral, which rightfully so. Which, yeah, it's a hard thing. Yeah, even Paco wants nothing to do with him. Yeah.
No, like, Paco's still willing to talk to Miklo, even though Miklo's been, like, doing some crazy shit. Even though, well, you could argue, like, he can't really control it that much.
Paco, after Paco shot, Miklo's leg, he kind of went full supervillain and was like, you're dead to me. As he said, like, I cut you off like they cut my leg. And it's just, ooh, there's your cue to exit right there, pal.
Yeah. But yeah... So, I mean, you can clearly see these 3 have very different life choices. But yeah, like, I mean, they still have kind of like a brotherhood that kind of keeps them together. Like, they keep on coming back to it.
It's the family aspect they have each other. No matter what throughout this crazy world.
Like I said, I hadn't heard of this before. I hadn't seen it before. But, like, this was good. This was damn fucking good.
Yeah.
It's it's not a light movie. There's some dark moments in here, fucking dark as fuck. But it's a good movie.
Yeah, there's also some really really great performances by all 3 of the leads. Actually, did Miklo look familiar to you at all?
No.
You sure about that?
No, I'm not so sure. No, I'm not.
He starred in a movie in the mid to early 90s. It was a video game movie.
Uh-oh. Was he in Super Mario Brothers?
No.
Oh, okay.
Same console, though.
What came out at that time?
Super Nintendo. It also was cross-platform on Sega and also arcade consoles. I can say something, but it might mislead. Oh yeah, it was a fighting game.
What, Street Fighter?
Like
Street Fighter? I've not actually seen that movie.
That's Ken. He was Ken in the Street Fighter movie. Yeah, that's really.
Yeah, I haven't seen Raul Julia. Yep.
His last movie ever.
Yeah, I know. Of course.
Well, we should add that to the docket. That is an incredible cinematic experience.
That is a movie that was made and exists.
Yeah. But we do see a finalization of all of them. Miklo goes back to prison. His gain really isn't on top. Everyone, the Black Game, the BGAers, and Lalanda, the Mexican gain is. Yeah, so they're all at war while the Aryan guys are just kind of sitting back enjoying everything.
Mm-hmm.
So they both decide through some politics, they take out after after they orchestrate a hit on their own leader because they don't like how he's running it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of bloodshed afterwards and pretty much eliminating all the heads of the other gangs, they run it all. So then the prison people decide that, hey, you know what? You guys, we're going to split all of you up because that'll put a stop to all of this. But instead, nah, you guys start your own chapters. Mm-hmm. So it just kind of it just keeps going. I guess the messaging in the movie was that cycle is just going to keep going.
Yeah.
No
well,
matter what
it's hard to escape the prison system once you're in it.
Yeah.
And that is a serious issue with it.
But we also later see, on the day that all this carnage in prison takes place, they decide to do it on the Day of the Dead,
mm-hmm.
which in I believe in Mexican culture is more of a day where they honor their dead family members by just thinking of them, eating some favor to their foods, listening to some music, visiting the gravesite, and just honoring their memory and their life.
Mm-hmm.
But we see Cruz at Juanito's grave just sitting there crying remorseful. And then his mother comes up to him and his family, and they forgive him. I guess the family has healed enough to where they see he's hurting because of this. He needs to be... And, we see that he gets better and he kicks his habit. Because next time we see him, he's completely clean.
Yeah.
And he looks way healed, like he was moving around again. So we see him and Paco go down because Cruz had painted a mural of the three of them when they were teenagers. I was like, wow, look at that. No one touched it. That means respect. And, Paco Paco needs a reality check and Cruz gives it to him. He's like, yeah, you could say that all this is your fault. He wanted to be like you.
Mm-hmm.
So what? We're here now.
Mm-hmm.
We have each other. We've made our choices, walked our paths, but we're here. We have each other. We're family. And as long as we have that, we'll be stronger. And yeah, I love that overall message of it.
Yes, for
which
sure.
Is why I made this my pick. Because it's a great movie.
No, it's pretty good, yeah.
And I had only seen it for the first time a couple of years ago, and I had never heard of it either.
Mm-hmm.
And great.
Yeah, it is very much a good one. It's definitely the odd duck here, because we have a comic book movie and then a movie that wants to be a comic book movie, I swear, and then this. But yes, it's a good
and then a
one.
serious drama.
It's on YouTube. It's not a great version, but it's an entertaining movie, and after a while, you kind of won't really notice the quality drop because it's a good
There's a few
movie.
4K. There's a few 4K resolutions too.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, check it out. Let's see. Are we ready for Flashpoint Paradox?
Yeah, let's talk about this.
All right. So this is this seemed like an appropriate thing to put on the list with the Flash coming out in probably like 2 weeks or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
I guess we got about a month till Flash. Oh well, we're gonna get this in the algorithm early.
Yeah,
but this is the anime version of the Flashpoint Paradox, which, I mean, everything I've heard about the Flash movie seems to be like it's going to be based on the Flashpoint Paradox. All the trailers look like it's based on the Flashpoint Paradox. If it's not about the Flashpoint Paradox, I'd be kind of shocked at this point. But also it allows them to reboot.
It does seem like that's the story they're leaning into by the trailers.
I mean, there's definitely some differences because, this is a more classic version, so this is actually Thomas Wayne instead of Batman 89. It's Superman here instead of Supergirl. I remember rumors that Jason Momoa and Gal Gadot were supposed to be in The Flash, and I don't know if they're actually still going to be in it, or if we just haven't seen it, or if they're
they probably are. They probably did the Spider-Man No Way Home thing.
Yeah, they might be going for that angle because they will already
edited them. editing them out of the footage.
Because we already got Batman 89 and Supergirl, and they were like, we'll market it on that. And honestly, Batman 89, and I'm kind of in the theater already.
They showed a trailer of him saying, "Let's get nuts."
Yeah,
I was like, all right.
He said the thing. He said the thing.
Hey. Yeah,
I know the thing. The thing. Say the line. Oh.
He said the thing.
Yeah.
Hey.
But as far as animated movies, DC, I will say their animated movies are way better than Marvel's animated movies for the most part.
Oh yeah,
definitely. I'm mainly talking about their direct to DVD ones, because obviously next week we're going to be talking about Into the Spider-Verse, and that's a whole next level. But that's Sony, and that's also theatrical. But as far as direct-to-DVD home media movies, like DC, usually at least has a really good animation team behind it. And while the movies aren't always great, there are some fucking gems in there. And this one overall, I think, is pretty fucking good. I don't know how much you know about why they did this one, but essentially they did this one to do kind of a reboot of the animated universe, which was all over the place at this point. And then for the next couple of years, at least, they did a unified universe with all their animated movies. And I think they gave up with I want to say Justice League Apocalypse War, I want to say, or something like that. It was the really dark one where everybody dies.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
There was a while where I remember this and several others were all on Netflix for a while, and I just kind of binged all of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, there's lots of gems in there. I thought there was a few that
Dark Knight
Returns.
Yeah, those were good. I'll say this: it was hard for me to get into the ones where Kevin Conroy was not Batman.
That's true. Well, when I first heard his voice as Batman, I was like, "Oh, he's in all of them, right?" No, and the ones every time he doesn't play Batman, in an animated form, it loses a little.
It's a little jarring.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
God damn it! Nobody else could nail that voice as well as he could. And
was not expecting that.
Yeah, while nobody else, while Bruce Wayne Batman doesn't have a huge role in this movie, it is Kevin Conroy, which is always a plus. And this one also has
Nathan Fillion
as Hal Jordan.
As Green Lantern. That one I was like, all right.
Well, I mean, for years people thought about how that'd be perfect casting. I talked about it too, except, I mean, now he's a bit old, but it's it would have been perfect
casting.
He could play an old Hal.
He could play an old Hal Jordan.
Sure, why not? But yeah,
he's been kind of how they've done with Jon Stewart, how he's older in some permutations of the Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Hal. Yeah.
But I mean, and if you're not familiar with the story, well, we might be spoiling the Flash coming out in about a month. Maybe not. Maybe it's completely different, and we're all getting fooled. I doubt it, but maybe. So the Flash stops the Reverse Flash in an evil heist. It's a very complex plan by Reverse Flash, but the Justice League comes together and they defeat him. They save the day, and then Barry Allen wakes up in an entirely new universe. Not sure how he got there, but his mom's still alive. And the world's about ready to destroy itself. So it's good fun. It's good.
And Aquaman and Wonder Woman are fighting.
Yeah, they're at war because, Aquaman and Wonder Woman were betrothed to each other for an alliance between Themyscira and Atlantis. But I believe, I'm brain farting. I believe Mara tries to kill Wonder Woman and she defends herself and she gets blamed for Mara's death. And
or she kills Mara.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm pretty sure Wonder Woman killed her.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's what we're going to get. There'll be a shot of Gal Gadot holding a CGI Amber Heard's head.
Yeah, they might.
I mean, that would just be fan service at that point.
That would be, and not your best fans either. Which...
No.
Yeah, no. But yeah, yeah, that. Well, we do have to see if Jason Momoa and Gal Gadot will be in the movie, because like that is a big part of it. That's part of why the world's kind of falling apart. Because, I mean, you have Batman, who in this universe is Thomas Wayne, who witnessed the death of his son and became Batman. And they don't do much with it, but in this universe as well, Martha Wayne becomes Joker. So, you know, all good in the Wayne family. They're doing great. They're doing great. And Cyborg is kind of the one who's the most about in the same place he's been. And he's just trying to stop the world from getting destroyed. And Barry comes in without powers, with his mom alive, and trying to help things out. And kind of the key part of the story is how all this happened wasn't any grand plan by Reverse Flash. It was Barry going back in time to try to save his mom. And he does it, but because of that, like, what I think it was described essentially, you know, you break the sound barrier, you get a sonic boom, you break, but he broke the time barrier, therefore time boom, and everything shifts around. It's time travel gobbledygook. It's time travel alternate reality gobbledygook, so they could do a crazy story and kind of reset the universe for the shared universe. But I get why they did that, and it's a pretty cool story. I mean, I like the idea that, like, he just wanted to save his mom, and maybe he shouldn't do that. Maybe he shouldn't. But yeah, I think overall, as far as the animated movies, this I think is a very solid one. There's a couple other gems that are absolutely worth checking out. But yeah, I enjoyed this one. What were your thoughts, Bobby?
I really enjoyed this. When I first found this, I was like, "Oh, cool, DC animated stuff."
Mm-hmm.
You know, I enjoyed the Justice League because I think at that point I had just finished the regular Justice League, and I had just started Justice League Unlimited. But I think a few of the kind of snoozer episodes of Justice League Unlimited, I was like, you know what? I'll take a little break from this and watch one of these movies. And it's funny, you know what? The I forget whatever one I was on, but the next one was the one with Whisper on it, or a question. Jeffrey Combs voice or voicing him in that Justice League.
I don't know if I've watched that. I need to check that out.
Oh, there's a great one with just him and another hero. I can't think of her name. There were two heroes in the DC canon I had never heard of, so that was cool to watch. But it was more so just that's Jeffrey Combs.
Yeah, I know that I'm voice. A sucker for Jeffrey Combs.
know.
Yeah.
I don't care what's whatever. I'm here for it.
More Jeffrey Combs is better. Just
as a rule. I'm here for it. I don't care. Yeah, but this I was very surprised because like first time I just saw a lot of blood and cursing. I was like, oh, we're leaning into this R. Okay.
Was this one an R? I know it gets kind of graphic at parts. Is it an R?
They got a little graphic.
Done one or two R ones.
I think it might be PG-13 or R, but still, I was more like, oh. So with animated, you could make like an old school PG-13 movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I know a couple of these movies get kind of graphic with the violence, which, you know, I'm not an objection to that.
Yeah, there were a few moments in this that I really loved.
This is a PG-13, but you are right. I mean, there's literally that scene where we're looking through the gunshot hole in Reverse Flash's brain to see.
I was like, oh, it's like, that kind of movie.
Shit.
I really loved it when Superman put his hands on that ball.
Yeah.
And just let it go off.
Yeah. It's like, I think he said something like, the waiting's the hardest part. The waiting's
That I was just like, Soup has a sense of humor in this.
But
I just more think, man, how is that bad guy thinking? Like, how familiar is he with Superman?
Yeah.
What is going through his head at this moment? What?
So,
what are we doing?
A couple noteworthy casting. Obviously, we brought up Kevin Conroy. C. Thomas Howell plays Reverse Flash, which he also does in the Suicide Squad movie set in this universe. Which, as I recall, is pretty fucking good. We also have Michael B. Jordan as Cyborg, which is, okay.
That was Michael B. Jordan.
Yes, it was.
I'm just now realizing that. Holy
Yeah.
crap. Okay.
Sam Daly, who's Tim Daly's son, who took over the role after his father retired for Superman, playing Superman. Dana Delaney as Wonder Woman. Carrie Ewells as Aquaman. Mary Bob Nathan Fillion. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, it's kind of impressive. The animated movies, like, you look at the cast list, it's like, that's not bad. Suicide Squad Hell to Pay. That's the movie I was thinking of. That was a pretty good one. But yeah, like, some of these animated movies are really good, and they're worth checking out if you haven't yet. This is a good one. Just to warn you, this will probably have spoilers for the movie coming up. But, I mean, there's definitely differences, I can tell you, from looking at the trailers. A bit more than the superficial stuff. So we'll have to see what they do. But, like, even though it's like a goofy story where they mess with time and alternate universes, there is a heart to this story. So I think they can make a really good movie out of this. But we will have to see what happens. I'm excited to see it. And that's despite the fact that Ezra Miller is very cringe. But yes.
Yeah, they are. Their actions are quite despicable.
Mm-hmm.
This is hard to talk about.
Yeah, no, I don't want to dive too deep into it because Ezra Miller, like, I hope they seek help. I hope they do. Apparently they have, which is the minimum. But, like, they've done some terrible things, and I will be happy to not see them as Flash anymore. That being said, this movie does look awesome. I mean,
I'm happy to see Michael Keaton in the bat suit,
yes.
as well as that shot in the trailer where the Batwing is coming down from the cave.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was fucking awesome. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
yeah, but yeah,
6-year-old me was like freaking out. Like, that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Going like, I want to buy a Batwing. I could buy a Batwing right now. Go to a vintage toy store and find one.
But yeah, overall, awesome movie. I enjoyed this quite a bit. Anything you want to add before we just go into closing?
No, I really enjoyed this one. Yeah.
Yeah, so next week, George should be coming on, and we'll be talking about Raiders of the Lost Ark, because we're going to dive into Indiana Jones stuff with Dial of Destiny coming out, which I'm kind of excited to see, if for no other reason than James Mangold's directing it, and that guy's fucking awesome. And then...
one thing I did notice in a trailer, and I know it wasn't recycled footage, is he's still going to be punching Nazis.
Well, that's good. He should be, because the only good place for a Nazi to be is in front of a fist. That's it.
Or a plane's propellers.
True. But we'll be talking about Raiders of the Lost Ark. We'll be talking about Fast 10. We've been watching these movies for a reason. Fast 10. And what was the third one? Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. All right, I feel like I already mentioned all those except Raiders of the Lost Ark, so I shouldn't have been able to come up with it, but somehow Raiders stuck out for some reason.
Wait, we are watching. Yeah, that's right. Fast 10 does come out this week.
Yeah, that will be the one to finally take Guardians from the #1 spot. But yes, until then, we will stop the casting of the pod, but we will resume the cast.
Yes,
later.
The cast shall continue.
So have a good one. Are we? Yeah, we'll free stream now. I got this. We are so. I could do this in post, but fuck you now.
Books, records, films, these things matter. Call me shallow. It's the fucking truth.